Your sacred fire sphere is to protect your consciousness and to protect you when you travel into higher dimensions of light. Today's discussion is a more advanced discussion on your sacred fire sphere. Last time we were talking about how to build it and how to use it for protection. Today we are going to discuss what is possible with your sphere. Great things are possible with this sphere because this sphere is being constructed not only by your mind and will, but by your divine blueprint. And by your divine blueprint, I mean that blueprint which is not corrupted, because the sacred fire is incorruptible. And your divine blueprint can use your sacred fire to bypass the corrupted blueprints that are being used down here by those who interfered with our divinity and tweaked our program or our DNA to be in the image of their fallen perceptions. So the sacred fire becomes a sphere where your true blueprint, your divine blueprint, can begin to manifest. And this is why it is so important to have a protected field around you. We cannot allow ourselves to absorb the world. You cannot give out all of your energy and take in all the energy of the world. If you do, you become enmeshed in the fallen program, and as I have said many times, wind up in the astral worlds when you die. To get out of the astral worlds and this lower programming, you can use your sphere. And this is a more advanced way to use the sphere. First, you must build your sphere of protection, which is in the previous video. But once you have spent years developing that protection and have been working years with the sacred fire sphere, you will begin to understand the power it has. It has great power to protect your consciousness while you are on this planet and in this dimension, because this dimension is full of the fallen program and you need to protect your consciousness. But also this sphere can take your consciousness at the moment of death and protect it and transport it into higher dimensional realities by, as I have said in other videos, transferring that consciousness into higher bodies or different bodies, into different realities. So this is a discussion that's continuing from the first, a little bit more advanced information. Your sphere is connected to your divine blueprint through the sacred fire, as I said, which is incorruptible. At a point when you are more advanced, you will be able to understand that this sphere is like a vehicle, even almost like a ship. But when I say a space, I don't mean a ship like a spaceship necessarily, but it is a vehicle to travel through interdimensional reality, through multiple realities of consciousness, because everything is consciousness. And all it is just different frequencies or different levels of consciousness. And in order to break through these barriers of consciousness, I've had videos on expanding your consciousness from an orange to a grapefruit. But in order to be able to do this safely and to transport yourself safely from one place to another, this sphere is designed to do this, because many times with people so unprotected in this world and they die with just sort of a scattered brain and a scattered amount of emotions that are attached to their body and attached to this world, they move into sort of a limbo area, or they can go down this tunnel that people talk about. But without protection, the vibration that matches the frequency of your emotions and your mind when you die attracts what you get. And most of the time that's your dead relatives. And sometimes it's just other astral entities, and you're taken off into a mirror image of this world and live. So you have to develop this sphere to not only protect your consciousness in this reality, but to secure your domain as you travel into other dimensions of light. Your vehicle is your home. Your sacred fire vehicle will be your home. As far as I know, it goes up all dimensions of light. The vehicle just becomes a more greater, complex patterns and programs of conscious reality as it gets higher up in those dimensions. But it is always a vehicle for consciousness. Consciousness is just not out there. There's this idea, of course, that we have a foundational, intelligent, infinite intelligence that is everywhere. That's a program, which I've mentioned before. There is a divine mind that has created our program. And there are beings whose minds are solidifying that program and working that program. But we are avatars. We are manifested forms of our soul consciousness. We are form. That's what I call an avatar. And these avatars, they have access to consciousness through the blueprint, through the multidimensional blueprint. But the idea that you're just out there needs to be completely understood as something you do not want to accept. Because I have mentioned this in other videos, if you're traveling in the astral worlds, and you may not even know you're traveling in the astral worlds, but if you get out into some areas of the astral world that, friends, you shouldn't be in, your consciousness can be captured. It can be seduced. It can be tricked into going into places in the astral world you don't want to go. So you have to build this sphere. And not only that, but once you build this sphere, you have to start understanding that it is your vehicle when you leave this reality. Now, the idea of ascension has been out there with multiple ideas of how that works, and people think you're going to sit here and dissolve this body into pure light and become some kind of a light being. The reality of the fact in third dimension, friends, is that we use our vehicle, even in higher dimensions, we use our vehicle to contain and protect our consciousness, and then we transfer our consciousness into another body. But it is this vehicle, this sacred fire sphere, that we must develop now, because that protects us from all the different fluctuations, all the different positron and electron and frequencies of light and thought realities that bombard us and can be waves and waves of confusion, especially when you're crossing borders between one major realm of thought into another realm of thought, which would be like fourth density into fifth density into sixth. There's realms, I would call them border areas, where it's really, really rocky and wavy in there. And you need to have your sphere around you to move quickly and safely through different dimensions and frequencies of thought or reality. Part of the problem with humanity has been they are closed off to their own awareness of who they are. To be quite frankly, most of humanity is lost. And it's not that they're lost in a way that is unretrievable. It's just that the world here is in massive states of confusion, because we have 7 levels of spiritual evolution on this planet. See my video. And with 7 different levels of evolution, and with 7, 8, 9 billion people in the future, you have all this stuff bombarding you. And you cannot absorb the world. So the first levels of sacred fire is to discipline yourself to create your own world, to build your own sphere, and inside this sphere is your reality, your world, what you want to do, what you decide to do, and it's also the way you can move from here to other realms of consciousness. So I'm going to be discussing this in our Patreon group, and this is a group for dedicated students and students with gifts. If you have gifts, if you can lucid dream and you get telepathic messages, your premonition, precognition, you have high intuition, and you're looking for a safe haven, a place where you can come and share your experiences and what to do and how to fine-tune it. If you are someone who wants to build protection and to really get focused on anchoring your consciousness in a solidified way inside this sphere, so that when we die, you know this sphere is your protection and it's going to take you where you want to go, then come and join my Patreon group. And don't forget to subscribe. And this is going to be a relatively short video today, because basically what I was wanting to bring out was that there is more that this sphere can do, and I'm introducing this idea to you today, and in the future I will do more videos on this. So let's get started building that protection, and then we will look forward to advancing your consciousness into higher realms as this whole journey unfolds. And so thank you, my friends, for watching, and I will see you in the next video.